Hello everybody, Blue Trooper here, aka the original card game for the win, and I was going to show off some interesting things, and this is going to be kind of a two-parter. This is going to be a before and after, because I've kind of renamed this deck a time or two, and it's kind of back to its original name. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Historic Brawl, and so, of course, I definitely made myself a deck based around Fynn the Fangbearer, and I've had this for quite some time, and it's been a pretty good deck for me, but it's also getting around that time to think of revising things, because very soon we're going to have the actual release on Arena of Phyrexia Wil Be One, and it heavily emphasizes poison, which is what this deck is heavily about, but it's not just about that. The thing is, I designed this deck kind of special. It's thematic and very mechanically synergistic. But it has like three major pillars of its design in this particular deck. We've got ability lording. Basically, lots of things with death touch. The cheaper and faster they are, the better, because it just has to hit for Fynn to trigger. And this is a triggered ability, but the fact that it can trigger like more than once easily also means that an enemy would have to waste a lot of triggered ability counters specifically to just deal with that. And trying to control Fynn specifically, because he's so cheap, is actually kind of tricky. So it can take everything somebody has just to hold Fynn back. So that it can spiral pretty quickly, especially with the fact he also, of course, ability lords himself, as a lot of ability lords actually do. But basically, Fynn has Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Now, the thing is that it only takes 10 to nail somebody. That's something that's been in the rulebook for a very long time. When they brought Fynn in to Arena, it was the first time that poison counters had been on Arena, but not the first time they've been in Magic the Gathering. Like, this has been a long-held tradition that they periodically go with poison. And sometimes it'll just be like a few things in a set, like in the case of Fynn, and sometimes it may be a big deal. Like, in this case, with Phyrexia Wil Be One coming up, a lot of it deals with poison, with the new mechanic Toxic, which is kind of a like as it goes thing rather than triggered per se. It's more like lifelink, but adds poison counters instead. And it also has a specific value, which is different. So changing something's power and toughness won't matter when it comes to Toxic. It's just if it hits. But Fynn, he works with Death Touch, and whenever a creature hits with it, they get poisoned. So he's not really giving things toxic per se. He's basically meaning that anytime something hits with Death Touch to a player, then they get poisoned. Now, the thing is, this ability lording is only part of how this deck works, and has been, again, for quite some time. Another thing has been basically making things harder to block and or supporting things overall. So, things like Manifold Key, which you can use to make something just straight up unblockable until end of turn. Things that grant trample, and the thing is, with Death Touch as a specific interaction with trample. And a lot of people don't get this, so I feel a bit like a Japanese game show host with this deck. Instead of rewarding punishment, I am punishing ignorance. Because if people don't know the rules of how Death Touch interacts with some of these things, it can get them totally nailed. So it's like, ha! You didn't know the real book, did you? And the thing about it is, when something has trample and Death Touch, it only needs to deal 1 point of damage to kill the creature it's blocking, and it deals the rest to the player or planeswalker behind it, regardless of as long as it has at least 1 point left. Because then this is regardless of how much toughness the creature has in its way. Like, something could have 10 points of toughness and still get just smacked through with something with Death Touch trample. Now, also, when it comes to First Strike and Double Strike, they also make it where if it hits first, it's not being considered damaged itself unless something else that it's dealing with at the time also has First Strike and or Double Strike. So you can nail even a very big creature out of your way with no consequence to your Death Touch creature there. And I've got some things to, basically just defend the commander and others, of course. Like Destiny Spinner is in here basically to keep blue from countering things all the time. Although that can also work with white and other things too, for that matter. Because Mana Tithe is back because of Mystic Archives. So, I mean, just keeping your stuff from being countered in general is good. So, hence why Destiny Spinner is sitting here. And I've got some miscellaneous stuff too, including one of the other pillars of design, and that is ramp. Making stuff harder to block, like giving it flying or trample, is nice, or straight up unblockable. But in the case of Champion of Lamp Bolt, yeah, this gets out of control so fast. I have had duels where I just beat somebody down with damage before I ever got the poison in, just because of Champion of Lamp Bolt. It is an awesome green card, period. But yeah, ramp is also pretty common in this deck design that I have here, and that's not just for counters, so it's not just proliferation and pseudo-proliferation, like the Maul Fist here. Maul Fist Revolutionary has a pseudo-proliferate effect, and that is not just when it enters the battlefield, but also when it dies, so you can get somebody to basically kill themselves with this card if they only need one more poison counter. Like they think, oh, I'm gonna knock this thing out. So I'm going to force you to block. Well, the thing is, if something happens to have first strike, you just have it block the first striker first, and then it dies. That triggers their out before the rest of anything else actually does anything. So it's kind of funny whenever people forget to read the cards. But, of course, there's other things that, like, we have some mana ramp, we have things like Alter the Pantheon, we have, of course, back here we have, of course, Kodama. Get you some serious land out. But counter and ramp, including proliferate, is a big part of this. Of course, one serious star of the show that people might not realize is Kura, because that ability to search for land cards when he dies means, okay, I've probably taken out a creature that you really didn't want me to take out, or you've just threw a kill card at him thinking, oh, I'll get rid of that flying Death Touch creature. But you forget about those 3 lands. That's pretty important, because a lot of lands in here also help out, like Access Tunnel, making something with power 3 or less unblockable until end of turn, and that also counts Fynn, and a lot of the cheap Death Touch creatures, so that can get fun. And Karn's Bastion has the ability to proliferate, so yeah! So yeah, some little combos like that come in really handy, and for a good all-purpose creature that you can kind of scale up and down, you got Stone Coil Serpent. That comes in very, very handy. And I got a couple of big finishers around here. Some protection. Again, protection also makes stuff harder to block, but also protects your creatures from various things anyhow. Like, this will protect from red-based, like, damage all creatures type effects, because protection doesn't just stop something from being targeted, it stops it from being damaged, period. Like, not like regular damage prevention, it just does not take damage from anything of that color. So if someone throws out a Wrath of the Gods, I think, or Fury of the Gods, it's that red one from Amonkhet where everything gets dealt 3 points of damage and then may get exiled. Anyhow, if they throw out one of those, and again, it's not the same as Wrath of God, that's a totally different card. But if they throw out, like, what big, like, oh, let's say they're trying to burn everything out with something, that's not going to work, because that damage will just not happen. Because it has protection from red. So, yeah, and of course, Vorinclex. Vorinclex is ridiculous if he gets out on the field and any of this is happening. Like he doubles up all proliferate effects, so that's a thing. And he also shuts down enemy proliferate, so it's like, yeah, you've also got some good versus the enemy trying the same strategy sort of things around here. In Plane-Wide Celebration, because you can proliferate 4 times in a row, is just a game ender if they have 6 or more poison counters, and they don't counter that immediate moment. Like, they are just gone. So this is a classic. Poison is the nature's great equalizer routine. And there's a few other things I got in here that's interesting. Like, Mystic Repeal is actually pretty good. People tend to overlook this one. But putting an enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library, you can throw some pretty big enchantments that are problematic into a spot where the enemy will have a very hard time getting it back, because they'd have to dig pretty far or do a lot of shuffles before that gets it back around. I'm going to actually show this off as a pre-All Will Be One experience for a little while here. I happen to have one of the perfect quests to do this. So let's see how things go for a while with Fynn's Venom Classic before it gets a few upgrades. I'm not going to go too crazy with modifying it after All Will Be One hits, because I've got some other designs in mind that will also be heavily based on green and poison, because they have a lot of poison and green in All Will Be One. So I'm thinking of having one like more specifically themed after it as well. You kind of like playing around with the interactive fields sometimes. Oh yeah, you could duress there, but I've already got mine. Okay, the Captain's Hook would have been nice because of Menace, but it's okay. Beam cannon the statue. I had to do that. But also, I mean, there's gonna be some extra stuff that's just straight up poisonous in All Will Be One that I'll put out here. Because, I mean, if there's one big weakness of his, yeah, that's partially it. It's not just they can be wiped out by burns, it's that it depends heavily on him to activate the poison. Like, you have to have something with Death Touch hitting to get it started. Although, once you get the ball rolling, that's when the ramp really comes into play, especially the counter ramp, obviously. But if you get a lot of mana ramp going on this way, you can go absolutely nuts. And when that happens, well, that gets you closer to using that big plain white celebration, obviously. Of course, the other question is, how much removal do they really have in a deck? I mean, sometimes people have, like, a lot. Ooh, nice damaging yourself there. God. I will like to play my evolution today. You probably want to counter this right now. Oh! Sorry, that was not the proper response. No, this is pre-All Will Be One, and I've got them to 7 poison very quickly. It only takes 10 to wipe somebody off the map. Speaking of which, they probably wondering, how much land you got? See, I might mess with the land ratio of this and maybe substitute some of the land for other things, and certainly replace it with some of the other lands from All Will Be One, because there's some of those that are great. Like, Mirex is definitely going in here. And it literally lets you make toxic mites. And they will just poison things if they hit. And I've already got a lot of stuff in this deck design that helps things out in terms of actually hitting. So, it's like, yeah, I can get the ball rolling in ways other than just Fynn after this, which is great. So I'll definitely modify my Fynn deck afterwards, and I'll also create some other ones. And you may have already seen some other things in the kind of pre-release events that are related to Toxic, so you kind of know how good some of those can be even without Fynn. So I'm going to diversify my designs, make some other Brawl decks based around Toxic, and stuff like that. But Fynn definitely has a place still. I mean, the fact that people tend to forget so easily how the rules work with Death Touch makes it kind of funny sometimes. Like, yeah, go ahead, block that. And it's also not just how that works, but how his effect triggers. Like, as long as it happens that combat, it doesn't matter if he dies during the attack either. Like, it will just happen. Okay, now Arc Spitter is also one of those things that makes things hard to block. And it's very cool, because this is actually kind of better than First Strike, if you know how to use it. As long as you got a little, as long as you have a little mana to spare, you can equip them up. If they block with anything, you can have them deal a point of damage, and it's the creature deals the damage. It's not the equipment. And that's the big thing there. Is because if the creature is dealing a point of damage to the creature that's blocking it, then that means that you've got a death touch creature striking first, and killing the creature that's trying to block it without actually interacting with it in combat. Like, they don't actually deal their damage to each other in that case. Admittedly, that has been a very annoying card from Brothers War. But I can also use this time to press a little. Because now they've made it basically uncounterable. Now they have Golos, so Golos decks can totally have counters. Is that how this is going to work out? Probably not. And they had to throw everything they had into putting Golos decks, so I know they're not going to be countering next. Now, do I want a Talons of Wildwood, or do I want to just make them straight unblockable? Okay, so they threw out the Maelstrom Pulse. That's a big one. Now, here's their problem. This is a Golos deck, not an Iseka deck. Iseka, God of the Tree. As a commander, yeah, I might deal with that, but this way? Not really. Not exactly the same. So therefore, having Prismatic Bridge in a deck with Golos isn't necessarily as good as having Iseka, God of the Tree, being also the Prismatic Bridge and thus able to just pop out there. So it's totally different. Oh, the Locust God. It's been a while since I've seen you. Funny, there's no artifacts or creatures there. It's been a while since I've seen the Locust God. I mean, okay. So you're definitely doing something a bit different there. Okay, do I wanna... Let's see, would that be... 6, 7? I don't think I'd be able to pound both of them. But I could give it a shake.
No matter the place, woods.
Here's the question, how much do they value the Locust God? Apparently enough to keep it from being smacked. Yeah, they'll take down Garrick for a moment. That first ability is the big thing here. Although, if you can get the emblem, that is kind of cool. I've done that a few times with him. Ooh, hello, Indatha. Nice to see you. Elia. Oh, they have some serious gods going around here. So this is Golos being an actual Pilgrim deck. Nice.
I'll find you again.
I'd be kind of delightful though. Questing Beast is good. Mystic Repeal, Garrick. Once a Wildwood can resurrect itself if I need to. Barrier Breach. Ooh, run it. Monument. Nice. This is also why I got a few things to protect my commander here. I haven't drawn them recently, but, you know. I have Mirror Shield for giving them text proof. Not to mention killing anything else with Death Touch that happens to try to oppose him. And of course I've got myself the Sword of Body and Mind, which is sweet and would just rip right through like those three. Like right past them, like they wouldn't even be able to block the protection rolls. Okay, yeah, well I needed that to get my stuff ready again. Now this one's gonna be, like, not very effective, but we'll see. I might get in some other runs here. I've been casting a lot of them, at least. Again, when it comes to quests, that's kinda sometimes the thing you're going for. Okay, so they're going through their decks to get more stuff. It's nice to see the Fusion sleeve around here. They have a lot of locusts showing up, and that is enough. But again, you can totally see the problem with the Fynn deck is that if they keep Fynn under control the whole time, and there's no guarantee that they will. I mean, it's partially luck. I mean, if they don't draw any of their stuff to remove them from the picture, and even if they do, they might have more problems than they think. I mean, if they tried using something to enchant them to keep them from moving for a while, classic white prison tactics, you could get around that in different ways. Like, for one thing, if you give them protection from one of those, it just falls off. The thing is, the protection also means that they cannot be enchanted by anything of whatever it protects from. So, and if they happen to have a blue enchantment that tries to slow them down, and you give them protection from blue, it's just gonna go away. So it makes that kind of funny. Kind of feeling the free mulligan this round. I got my hook back. Nice. Fiend's Tower. Okay, Triumph. Always do like the Triumph. They're dead. You do, however, force them to burn a lot of things. This also kind of goes with the concept of having a lightning rod. Things that just draw their fire from things that could otherwise be even more wicked, and they don't even realize that that's the real problem. Phyrexia is not going to be fully stuck here. Because all I have to do is wait a turn, and then about time. Ah, Saber Elder. Nice. Okay, they're holding back. Interesting. Let's get interesting on something else here. How much do you really want to hold on to both of those? Okay. More than I would have thought. Fair enough. I have to have my hook. Now Joda get some interesting things in. They went really far down there for that one. Because I'm just going to pop you just because. Oh, I think they realized that I was gonna trigger one to get the other and then just start smashing. They're going, oh wait, that's right. I think they saw my plan. Well, one of them anyhow. There's more than one that this resonates. Again, I have just smashed enemies with this without the poison whip. It does happen. Because I've got a lot of synergy in this deck anyhow. So it doesn't entirely need Fynn to win, but it does help. So if you want to get the poison win, you kind of depend on Fynn. But that's not completely necessary after all Wil Be One. So I'm going to definitely have some things in that can get the ball rolling without Fynn. Although there'll probably still be some moments where I just pound them down. Arc Spitter, okay. They start with the Witches of them. This is a Gix deck. I have beat Gix before. Instead, black has a lot of kill cards. But we'll see where this goes. Because when it comes to any kind of commander-based format, whether it's Brawl or straight-up Commander, a lot of things are going to be from, you know, getting your commander actually out on the field. I have a lot of land here, so I might actually get out a Chroma's Memorial. It gives protection from black. How long can they keep burning their mana on trying to stop Fynn before I get that out? Also, I'll get a treasure token if they take out the Cobra. So that's win-win. Sometimes you really do Fynn it to win it. See? The thing about black is they tend to do a lot of damage to yourself. I didn't even hit you yet. They do have the Witch's Oven to keep the food rolling in, but are they really going to maintain that? Come on, give me a treasure token. Thank you! No, I'm not going to waste that on the Manifold Key. I have a bigger plan. It's called Get My Memorial Out Early. Then I'll be able to afford the key and the questing beast next round, you know. Ooh, they got the hostile. Which becomes the creeping enemy. They can throw out some zombies. Maybe. I mean, there's Ashnod. Can you afford anything else? I will toss this out. And then suddenly putting like you can't block this because it has awe. Well, I'd like to think of it as that ability is called awe. But basically, I like the idea of calling that ability has been bopped around so much of not being able to be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less awe. Because they're in awe of the creatures, so they're just standing there as it goes by. They're like, oh, that thing looks really awesome. I'm not going to do anything. She still has 2 power, that's still not quite enough. Just saying. Oh, you think things were nasty before. Chroma's Memorial. No risk, no mercy, no matter what. Memorial inscription. They're like, ah! Let me tell you, I don't think it's gonna be your life that goes first. I think it's that counter up there going up rather than that one going down. Okay, so you got that there. But that's really gonna be something that you're not gonna be able to keep up with for very long. And the thing about me also favoring colorless equipment when possible is that there's nothing that has protection from artifacts at this time. There used to be. But, yeah, it's been around for quite some time. So, the ability to equip anything I want? Yeah. Oh, the excavator. I got any? I don't got any land over there. They know they're gone. Like, they know they're gone. They're like, I'm out of here. Like, I know when I'm gonna get poisoned to death on the next turn. So again, don't think of this as a going away party for Fynn. Think of it as a before he gets a slight improvement. Or a few. Also, there's a nice Death Touch green creature in the set that I'm eyeing. He can get the ball rolling on its own. It has Death Touch and Toxics. I'm like, yeah, that's just... Okay, now this is a bit more classic for how I like starting out. I've been kind of just throwing it down to just see how different things go, but I have the Scorpion. This is again where cheap Death Touch comes in. Sedge Scorpion is cheap Death Touch. Now do I banner next? I might. That's both ramp in like power and poison. Yeah, you don't exactly have the ability to do anything about this right now, so you're gonna You're gonna get just smacked very soon. Yeah, they realize that. They're like, I'm out. Smell Fear is a good card, even just now. Proliferate and cause a fight between creatures. Yeah, that definitely is one of the most complementary cards of the deck. This is like, okay, so again, but you gotta get the ball rolling with Fynn first in this design. And again, why it's gonna be improved after Wil Be One is because you can't really continue your momentum without Fynn getting at least one hit in from something with Death Touch, even if not Fynn himself, but he has to be on board at the time. Okay, I do not have... I mean, yeah, I'd have to have a third land before I'd want to do that, because I'd want to play that on my third turn. Way better. Way better. Way better. The Fang of Shigeki. Now the real question is, how much do you really want to keep that vampire? Are you gonna hang back and let off? Oh. So now it's how much do you want to keep the priest? Hollow Priest is definitely a classic from White. But how much do they want to keep it? Like, do they really, really want to keep the priest? Or do they want to stop me from gaining momentum? Oh! They're willing to stop me from gaining momentum. Okay. So the wise thing is to try to keep it from starting in the first place. Not everybody does that. Might have a pump, but I'd rather have an opening. I would like to pump Fynn up. They had a Gonjo. But they had to commit to that. Now they don't have a Gonjo. Let me show you something a little bit bigger. You don't have a Gonjo right now, so... do I want to snipe that? Maybe. I could Mystic Repeal that. Yeah, I'm gonna Mystic Repeal that. Sorry, you're not getting a legendary land. I did love it when Ikoria did the crossover with Godzilla Styles. I mean, this is awesome. We'll get out of control very quickly, just on its own. Yeah, I got the ball rolling with Fynn himself. Always nice, and sometimes I have basically won that way. With just Fynn being, like, maintained the whole time. Oh, he had intervention. They went all out. But I do have other things that I can do. Including the bookcase. Better idea. Vigilance counter, nice. It gives you the sampler. There goes that one. Of course, if this gets hexproof on its own, that makes it hilarious. Because then they can't even target it. It's like, where'd it go? Of course, this is just nice extra life gain for green. Any color, actually.
I'm not looking for trouble, but let's do this together.
Okay. Bookcase. Horse. Give me my diamond mare. Okay, reach and vigilance. Nice. Now I have my bookcase. That's just a classic. And they reprinted this for New Capenna, which is interesting. Oh, the excellent reservoir. That can, now that thing can be dangerous.
I've made plenty of connections.
Ooh, shielded around. Okay. That can help protect him. But do I want to? Yeah, I'd rather kind of work up things. Well, I could jewel up a bit. Ooh, lifelink. If it gets death touch and flying on its own, it can just fly over them.
Be brave.
Yeah, it took a while. Now, where's my, where is my Shadow Spear when I need it? Oops. Did that a little out of order. I might as well get a little more poison in. Kicks. Again, I don't really like timers being a thing, but yeah, still happens. Okay, put my evolution stage down and then the land to really get the extra liquor going there. They're definitely going to fire off the reservoir. Yeah, that thing's usually just a big cannon that basically costs a lot of life. But in big life gain decks, it tends to be a big thing. Because then they just pay 50 life after they have something more than that. So the Aetherflux Reservoir I definitely see as a lot of people's primary strategy. Ooh, immediate Moss Viper. Nice. I can go mining from here. Also nice. See, we both have fancy lands as our sleeves for our decks here. So fancy. Amazing what you can do with just 2 lands. I've actually had some wins where I've just had like 2 lands out, like literally like just enough to do things that are like with my cheaper stuff, including them, and still got the poison win. So it's surprising how few lands you can have out and actually win. Like they had me like totally outland, and I just completely mauled them. Oh, they got the beacon. Yeah, it does cost you life. Just saying. Might as well give you a quick pick. About the serpent is it can be scaled, not just for a pun. They're pondering. Oh, they realized that double strike was gonna totally get to them. They're like, yeah, let's not just double strike. This can also be used when you're not causing a fight. So, just saying, for your research purposes, keep that in mind. They're curating. I am having very low land this round. Like, again, it's up to the cheap stuff to keep going. The Serpent is immune to multicolor because of protection, so yeah, only something non-specific or monocolor. It would be nice to have some land. Just saying. I mean, I don't have the worst mana ratio ever in this deck, and I don't have the best, but still. What kind of terrible luck is that? See. I'm not thinking the renewal is going to be my big thing here.
Witness a mote of my power.
Oh, finally. Now I have enough attack power to take out Shieldred if I were to do it that way.
Your existence is pointless.
Of course, this is a very strong version of Nicol Bolas. But he totally had to burn that ability through to get that to work. So it's like, yeah, I certainly don't want the uber proliferate happening there. Because I would have driven them up to 10 very quickly. And this thing would have been absolutely huge. Speaking of counter ramp. Oh, they destroyed a target legendary spell with that. The Tail's End. Activated, triggered, or legendary. I won't be needing this.
My schemes are never ending.
Grim Tutor. They're going for a specific card. Now I can also Chaos Wand to get various things out. If I can get this going, things can get interesting. Okay, so that counter's in there. And anytime you see any blue in the deck, you gotta be worried about counters. That's why I've got my Destiny Spinner in there. Wow, he went for the full Invoke Despair. Thanks for that, Neon Dynasty. It is a very dangerous black sorcery. Wow, that one just went through. Okay. And that just pulled over with the weak, so nice. Blue and black. Okay, so nothing more green there. But can I get in for the 250 though? Gotta get it a win for that? Because I'm kind of gonna just go for that to lead off with Fynn. So one more win with Fynn. Now, whether or not it's a poison win, again, it can be an intimidation win. It can be like an absolute classic green stomp. I got some decently sized creatures in here. I mean, Vorinclex just comes out of nowhere because he's got haste. The questing beast has haste, and of course, Kura is just a flying menace in and of himself, even if he doesn't get his death trigger. Way Walk-It. Is that a Walk-It that goes the one way? I'm just curious. I might go with this because Evolution Sage. And this one is probably going to get swapped out with a very particular piece of equipment that I'm eyeing for Wil Be One, because there's one that just grants Toxic. Now the thing is, you can always do an early Stone Coil Serpent if you wish, knowing that they're doing white and green will make this very interesting. And what I translate this to is hello, First Blood. Meaning I got the first hit. That doesn't work on this. Let's see if they know how to work. And now, admittedly, with Trample and Protection, things get a little weird. Even though it can theoretically stop all the damage, it still has, like, things past whatever its toughness would be going through. But if I were to, oh, say, grant this Death Touch, then they wouldn't be able to block with Sigarda. Yes, they might take out Fynn, but he will demonstrate what I mean by how this works. Because it's all resolved in one shot unless there's a first strike / double strike round. Yeah, that pierced through. Watch this, even if I have to get him back up from my command zone. Now, they've got 2 poison counters, and I can recast Fynn later. They cannot get through that with Sigarda right now, because it would totally take her out. Okay, so now it's time for Evolution Stage. Yes, please. Thing of Shigeki for later. Protection. Means you can't even block if you wanted to on that, because protection also means can't be blocked by anything that it protects against. So color, everything. Okay, they vanquished the Horde. They got very desperate, wiped out their own commander. Hi, Finn's back. Well, they did take out 2 snakes in one shot. So just saying. as well get a little extra in. How much do you really want to try that? They're both getting the commander attacks zipped up pretty quickly there. So they can't even afford to guard it. And they're going, wait, does he have other creatures? Yes, yes I do. I have Renata, I have my other snake here, the Jewel-Eyed Cobra. So, yeah, I have plenty of other stuff to throw at them, so they're like, wait a moment, it can't all be Fynn. It's like, yes, you're right. It's not just all Fynn. In fact, I had him half dead with Fynn already, and they suddenly realized, oh wait, he's probably got more Proliferate too. Yes, yes I do. I could totally have done it from there. So that was just to get in that little extra 250 since that popped up, so that was just kind of a nice bonus. But yeah, so again, before I get off here, just kind of reviewing how this deck kind of works out, is just having a bit of Ability Lord for, or creatures with Death Touch for Fynn to improve, a bit of things that make things hard to block, including ways of granting other creatures Death Touch to complement them just then. Like the Basilisk Collar, darn lips. The Basilisk Collar is good, but I also have something that didn't even show up the whole time. Well, a lot of things didn't show up the whole time. Like, I didn't even play my Maulfist. Showed that up before, I didn't get it the whole time. Seraph. Every other tapped creature you control has Death Touch. Yeah, that makes things pretty wild. The Urban Daggertooth is interesting because whenever it takes damage, you proliferate. I've had people totally nail themselves with this one before if they did not see that on there. So, yeah, I had a lot of things. I didn't even get out the other form of Ronus. So, and for both forms of Ronus have Death Touch, so yeah. And Vorinclex's counter ramp, that did not factor in at all. Like, I did not get that to happen once. Didn't get to use the Planewide Celebration. Didn't even get to use my Great Hinge. That thing also gives lots of stuff to put more counters on. So it's like, yeah, that gives the Great Hinge is always good in green. It just does its thing, lots of things at once. So the big question is, what will I really swap out in terms of lands? Like, I might substitute a few forests for a few other lands, maybe or maybe not mess with the mana ratio a little bit. I don't know. I mean the land ratio. But we'll see. We'll see how that works. Just saying, the reason why I got Cabaret Courtyard in here is, in addition to Field of Ruin, is very interesting. Because if you have the ability to play lands from your graveyard with the Excavator here, which will be replaced by something else later, might I add, and you've got the ability to use Evolution Sage for Proliferate, you can get like just straight up multiple triggers that way in a row and just totally go ridiculous with the Proliferate. So it's like, yeah, those things combined equals holy moly, it's just going nuts. So it's like, yeah, that's a thing. Hence why ramp is also readily apparent in this deck. So yeah, there's some stuff that didn't come up during that particular run. Not the best run I've had, but not the worst either. Like, you can have some seriously bad luck sometimes with any deck, no matter how good it is. This is a good deck, and a little off ratio, but that's fine. And like, even some of my other cheap Death Touch things didn't come up. Like, I didn't get to throw out my Narnum Renegade, or even my Blight Blade. I don't think I put that one out either. I just had the Scorpion show up in the Moss Viper, and the Fang of Shigeki. I just had. Well, did I even get my Moss Viper out? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure right now. But yeah, I just had just a few things pop up, but a lot of stuff didn't. That's fine. That's fine. It happens sometimes. I didn't get to really utilize some of my stuff because some got knocked out. Like, they realized, you know, that's going to throw on more counters, so I'm going to get rid of that. So it shows how much you can lightning rod some things pretty quickly, where they're going, you know, that's definitely dangerous. Not necessarily the most dangerous thing I got there. Like, whenever I got Chromus Memorial to really go off, they got wrecked. But, so it shows, yeah, countering too much and not keeping some back can also totally get to you. So, that's a thing. Meanwhile, I've already just a quick showing here. I've already got pre-order set, so I don't know, like, in terms of packs, like, if I'm gonna really do that more at the beginning or the end like I normally do. But it's a thought. I mean, I'm gonna do some. I'm definitely gonna do some stuff early on. Like, I'm going to definitely do some drafts and sealed early on, like I have before, and of course, kind of putting that out across the season also kind of helps you get a few extra things unlimited if you know how to do it that way. But for now, I think that's kind of the... Well, wait, one last thing. What did I get as my random cards whenever I zip through there? Does it just show me anything new here? Nope, doesn't show what I got exactly. Oh well. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Well, anyhow, I'll be logging off for now. This has been Glitch Reaper, aka the original card game for the win. So, hope to hear from you all later. Bye for now, and remember, MTG forever.